If you've wanted to know how to play every bot like the back of your hand, you're in the right place. There are just a few very important rules and guidelines I want to get out of the way first. This is a guide on every single robot in order of the shop, from Cossack to the newest robot. This video is also a tier list. The tier list will not be in the typical S to F tier format, but will be formatted in 85 separate tiers in 85 separate numbers, with one robot per tier, so it will be very clear when I think that one robot is better than the other. And while I will consider how effective a robot is for the lower leagues, its final tier list placement will be in the perspective of Champions League. To make this accurate and to not inflate the performance of robots with meta weapons or drones, all of the weapons from the red data pads, including Subduer, are not allowed. Seeker, Pascal, King Ting, Rizzo, Hawkeye, and Solar will not be used. Ultimate Editions will not be reviewed, and Ultimate Edition weapons are not allowed. I will not use Ultimate Pilots like Liesel and Ibreeze. However, I will be using Ultimate Pilots for robots like Bulgasari and Raker, since they do not have an original pilot. I will be using the Avalon Mothership to prevent certain effects from killing the purpose of certain robots. All passive modules and all active modules, including Unstable Conduit, will be allowed. For drones I recommend Shy, so I will not mention other drones in the guide unless they stand out for a particular robot. And as one final thing, there will be no personal bias towards the robots, which means that however much I dislike or like a certain robot will not influence its place in the ranking. Otherwise, the tier list might end up looking like this. And I'm sorry if I place your favorite robot lower on the list, as this is a completely informative guide. Tier 1 robots are the weakest robots in all of the game and shouldn't be used in higher leagues and should be replaced as soon as possible, due to all of them having major weaknesses that prohibit them from working well in the long run. And without anything else to say, let's fly right into the list. First up on the chopping block we have Cossack, the little green robot that holds the title for the smallest in the game. One medium weapon is absolutely tragic firepower, barely tickling the enemies, and this is after the weapon slot change, as I remember Cossack used to have one light slot instead of the medium it has today. The tier 1 bots tend to fare better if they have more weapon slots, and unfortunately, even Destrier has better firepower because it has more weapon slots than Cossack. The ability is a simple jump, leaping up a certain distance into the air and landing back down. Cossack's ability cooldown is super short, and it recharges in the air, so almost as soon as you land, you can jump again. I prefer to call the ability the self-destruct button, because as soon as you use it, everyone knows what you are, since Cossack has the lowest jump height in the game. And any other bot in the game is a counter to you, due to having extremely low health. But the one thing that Cossack can take advantage of is its speed. The Cossack has the Go skill available to give it way more speed in exchange for the ability, which enables Cossack to take advantage of its speed, specifically on small maps like Dead City or Moon, flitting from cover to cover and sneakily capturing beacons. Cossack has to be played as carefully as possible to avoid imminent death, because as soon as something comes close to your relative vicinity, you will be vaporized. What doesn't help Cossack's case is its lack of any module slots, which eliminates any methods of significant healing. And don't expect any kills, because one medium weapon. Although using a weapon drone results in occasional kills, I wouldn't recommend it, since Cossack's playstyle doesn't revolve around damage, even though the only kill I managed to get while running the Cossack was with the Haruko drone. For weapons, I recommend running special effect weapons, such as Damper for Rest, Fainter for Lockdown, or Scatty for Freeze, because you might as well support your teammates since Cossack is a devoted beacon runner. Cossack without Go skill would be placed dead last due to its low HP, low firepower, and terrible ability. But with the Go skill, I am placing Cossack at number 84 because of the massive boost of speed it gets. Destrier, while technically having more firepower, exchanges extra speed and its ability for 10,000 more health when maxed. Since the Destrier doesn't have an active ability to exchange for a pilot skill like Ghost, It is stuck with a small boost from drones or from pilot skills like Roadhog. Only the Tier 1 bots that are available for gold have an active module slot, and Destrier isn't one of them, which puts it further behind the other Tier 1s. Destrier does have more firepower than Cossack. 2 light weapons are supposed to be equal to 1 medium, but for certain weapons, 2 lights overpower the 1 medium in terms of damage, and can accumulate special effects faster. The only way Destrier should be used is as a very carefully played and highly situational beacon runner, or liberator, as it isn't always fast enough to get to the first beacon, especially on maps like Ground Zero, and if it gets caught out in the open, it gets vaporized. For weapons, you could go the same way as Cossack and turn Destrier into a support bot and run Tamers, Magnetars, or Snares. Or, if you really want to lean into that beacon runner role, put 2 ECU shields on Destrier for protection while capping beacons. Due to having virtually no uses, I am going to place Destrier in last place, number 87 on the tier list. It falls out of relevance quickly as it doesn't have an ability, and 2 light weapons on their own is still bad firepower even though it is more than 1 medium. Gepard is just Destrier, but better in almost every way. Gepard costs 100 gold, while Destrier costs 75,000 silver. But Gepard comes with the same speed, although the speed on Gepard is already maxed at 58 km at level 1, and doesn't change when upgraded, which is a good thing. Gepard has more durability and is the first robot on our list that comes with an active module slot. Although Gepard still doesn't have an ability, it gains an extra light weapon slot, which allows for some pretty decent firepower, possessing the same amount as some higher tier bots such as Pursuer and Loki. Gepard can be used as a kill stealer and as a situational beacon runner, if the right drones and weapons are used. While it might not look like much, Gepard's module slot increases its survivability by quite a bit. Using phase shift or repair unit is always recommended. Although Gepard only has a little bit less than 150,000 health at Mark III, this number can be inflated to almost 400,000 by using the Haruko drone and spamming the repair unit. In this circumstance, I use the unstable conduit, but that is always subject to change, and repair unit can do the same thing. Although doing this strategy pays off, it eats up a ton of power cells at a very quick rate. Gepard always surprised me at how consistent it was at getting kills, as I usually ended up with a kill or 2, especially with weapons like Mace, Magnetar, and Blights. Due to the Gepard being an obvious successor to the Destrier, its placement will, in turn, be higher. And I think a good spot for it is right around the middle of the Tier 1 pack, in place 81. GL Patton has great firepower for a Tier 1 robot, coming with 4 light slots. Patton has good health too, coming in at over 200,000, but what it gains in health and firepower, it loses out on in speed, making all the snails jealous with a max speed of 43 kilometers, which is only a bit faster than Behemoth, which has 4 heavy weapons. Patton doesn't have an ability or module slots, which makes it unable to defend itself or retreat if it gets into a bad situation, which will happen often since it has one of the slowest speeds in Tier 1. Its slow speed eliminates pretty much any brawling or beacon running playstyles for the spot, so I would not use it for beacon game modes at all. I would use Patton for sniping, although only with Volt. Patton's best weapon choices are Blights or Magnetars, and using Patton as a mid-range support bot, because the 4 light slots is still a lot of firepower despite lacking in any other aspect besides health. Just look at how quickly it melts this Typhon. Due to having so many weapon slots, Patton excels at applying effects quickly and efficiently. Patton can be run effectively with 4 tamers, acting as the Rust version of Magnetar, Spear, but only with Otto Schreier as the pilot. Cycles are Scald for quick blast charge accumulation and complete defense mitigation, and Marquis as a budget option. One strategy that works, although not exactly well, is as a teleporting robot counter for Shenlu and Scorpion. However, this doesn't work at all for Revenant due to its high HP. Using a maxed Shy Drone and equipping 4 cudgels on it can chip through Shenlu and Scorpion's low health pools. Patton can eat through Shenlu's shield and deplete a good amount of durability, usually ending up with an assist and surviving with the last stand from Shy. Patton's slug-like speed and lack of ability is the major drawback to the spot, and unfortunately prevents it from working super well, which leads me to place it in spot number 78. Bolt, unlike every other Tier 1 bot which became irrelevant because of how old they got, was actually added later in the game as a project between War Robots and the community. As Gepard is the upgrade for a Destrier, the Bolt is an upgrade from the Gepard, although not by much. A comparison between Gepard and Bolt shows that they have the same firepower with 3 light slots, fixed speed, 58 km for Gepard and 55 for Bolt, and a module slot, although that's pretty much where the similarities end. Bolt possesses around 125,000 health when maxed, which is around 250,000 less than Gepard. But the Bolt does have an ability, a simple dash. Bolt's dash has the fastest cooldown in the game for dash bots, being only 5 seconds. However, the dash only has 1 charge. This dash enables Bolt to be a beacon runner and a very finicky assassin. Bolt needs Shy, cudgels, and a jump unit. Why a jump unit? Because there's a neat trick that you can do with any dash bot called a super dash. A super dash is when you activate the dash and then use the jump unit while dashing. There are different timings for each dash bot, but for Bolt, it is right at the very end of the dash, when the thrusters are just about to fade. This turns Bolt into an assassin with Mace, Rhyme, or Havoc, being able to normally dash and attack and then use the super dash to escape, or rushing in with the super dash and using the normal dash to escape. Since Bolt is slow and not dashing, assassin tactics should only be used on smaller maps with more cover. Otherwise, I recommend playing with Blights or Magnetars and using it as a beacon capper. And since it has the module slot, it can be paired with Haruko and Repair Unit, just like Gepard. Even with Bolt's hit and run tactics and ability to cross maps quickly, it only makes it a little bit better than Gepard. However, Bolt quickly gets outclassed by any other dash bot in the game, and can only be placed right above Gepard in spot number 80.
My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
For our final bot of the day, we have Gareth. Now Gareth technically has the highest health of any tier 1 robot. The physical shield has over 200,000 HP when maxed, but the base health is abysmal, possessing less than Destrier and just scraping 100,000. And the shield is pure HP, which can't be inflated with defense points, and when the shield is gone, it's gone just like any other physical shield in the game. There's no getting it back. The shield can also be bypassed by any weapon with splash damage like flames and rocket launchers, and any kinetic weapons do double damage to it. but this still means that Gareth technically claims the highest health pool in Tier 1, which means extra survivability, and no matter the remaining HP of the shield, it can survive a lethal hit from something that can't pass through it, like here when a Gauss Crisis fired straight at Gareth and the shield absorbed the whole hit. Gareth's ability is called Phalanx Mode. When the ability is pressed, Gareth slows down and moves the shield from its left side to in front of it, which I will call Active Mode. And when the ability is pressed again, it speeds up and moves the shield to its left side, which I will call Passive Mode. Gareth's ability isn't really anything special, although it does allow for movements across open distances with minimal damage, while the shield is still there. When the shield is destroyed, the ability can still be activated, so having the ability in Passive Mode is optimal for extra speed, although it is hard to tell what position it is in when the shield is destroyed. Gareth's firepower is not that great either, carrying 1 light and 1 medium. While the 1 medium might seem appealing, it isn't much better than Destrier, but it does allow for some combinations with things like ECU. And to play Gareth as a kamikaze bot, using the shield in rest mode and moving sideways to get close, and unloading high burst damage weapons like Ryman Cryo, Mason Cudgel, or Havoc and Scatter to take out one low HP enemy. I suggest this because it's pretty unlikely that Gareth will make it out of the situation alive. Otherwise, just put the usual radiation weapons or Pulsar and Magnetar on it and run it as a beacon grabber. Gareth's high health and speed is balanced out by its low firepower, and due to the beacon running and assassin capabilities, Gareth can be placed in spot number 82. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe as it'll help motivate me to keep making content. And as an extra thanks, make sure to check the comments for a small DGEM giveaway. Thanks a bunch for your support and I'll see you next time.